thought it would be easier talking about leaving MAGA as a 3-time Trump voter than it is, but some of y'all are really mean. And I get this was me this time last year, but that doesn't matter because, again, my feelings matter. Yours never mattered. The level of hate I'm getting is unreal. People telling me to have accountability, to put the work into my community instead of coming on the internet and crying for myself. Like, you just don't get it. So much for the tolerant left. You guys are exactly how the right describes you. Like, how do you not get that this shit is hard?
You know, I thought it would be easier the more I talked about leaving MAGA, being a 3-time Trump voter. But I have to be completely honest with you that it's not getting easier, and it actually feels like it's getting more difficult because I'm gaining more empathy. And I don't think people really realize how counterintuitive the hate that I receive when you can take one look at my page and see that I am doing the work. I read a comment this morning that I'm not stitching because I don't want hate to come our way, but you'll understand why I'm reading it. I've been deconstructing from Christianity and left MAGA. I do not speak about it because the hate you receive from the left is no different from the hate you received when you were in the cult. I'm just minding my own business and rewiring my whole belief system. What people don't understand is how hard it is to actually wake up and realize your entire life has been a lie, and now you have to start over from scratch. I'm not going to allow any negativity from anyone into my life. It's hard enough to do this. I can't see. I had to stop and gather myself. Not only that, I'm not going to be a part of any political party or religion ever again, so the expectation of the left thinking we have to vote blue now in order to make amends or something is not something I want to be a part of. The amount of "I'll never forgive you" I see in your last video is enough for me to never try to speak up on anything that's happened to get me here. My entire family is deep Southern conservative Christian Republicans. It's been buried into my whole system since birth. Seeing my truth and removing myself from it has been the hardest thing I've ever done. I don't really know what else to say other than, like, I don't think that this is what the left wants. You've been shouting for people to wake up for years, and people do. And you just want to harp on, and I get it, that it didn't happen soon enough. And I don't believe that. I can't believe that. I have too much hope in my soul to roll over and die. I don't know what the solution is, but I know it's not to beat people while they're already down.
And I will tell you that the right has a big issue with what's festering underneath in terms of the sentiment against women. There are a lot of women from the right who still keep in communication with me, and they see what's happening, and especially as it relates to the rhetoric against women on the right, they're not just turning a blind eye to this, and it's going to impact them whether in the midterms or 2028. They're waking up to the fact that they've also been that they've been used as pawns within this fringe movement.
I just want you all to know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for giving him those chances. I'm sorry. I see things now. I see them clearly. And I think I saw them way too late.
Hey, Auntie Bev here. The woman you just saw in the video clip is identified as Susan Howard. She has a TikTok video, which is about 2 minutes long, and she explains how she feels she was betrayed by the president, and she wants people to show her grace for her error in judgment. Well, the vocabulary word I have for that is delude. It's a verb, and it means to deceive, to trick, to fool, to manipulate someone's judgment. Using it in a sentence, I would say, Susan Howard says the president was able to delude her into believing he was going to do what was best for the country, and that's why she continued to vote for him. And I'm saying Susan Howard was delusional. That's an adjective, and it means faulty judgment. Delude, delusional. Add those two words to your vocabulary bank and make it your time, your shine. Auntie Bev speaks.
MAGA is losing their minds in my comment section. They have been freaking out for ages, okay? Past week or two of just the sloppiest excuse of like, I'm gonna bring up your dead mom. That'll really get her. You guys, none of it gets me. None of it. Number one, because my mother was a raging liberal bitch. I mean that in both a flattering and unflattering way. She really had her moments. She was also like a real activist. So I was quite literally raised going to protests and watching people slander, spit on, abuse physically my mother and her activist friends. So this little like, ooh, I'm really got her this time. Send. I'm from the shit. Ooh. In the words of, who was it? Wasn't Tyler the Creator, was it? How is cyberbullying real? You just... No, really, you guys look desperate. I need you to go to like TikTok bully university or something. Mind you, I discovered this because for the first time in over a week, I picked up this account. And I was like, oh, how interesting. Won't be revisiting those comments. And lastly, to wrap this all up, you guys are getting really snowflake out here. I'm just gonna say it. A girl gets on the internet and says, yeah, I don't want anything to do with MAGA. I never have. I've been abundantly clear about that from the beginning of my days on the internet. I don't want to be associated with it. It's icky. It's weird. No, go away. Same with creators, same with followers who do that kind of thing. No, not okay with it. So she condones bullying? Leave a comment about her dead mom. Get a grip, snowflake. Anyways, eat my butt.
Someone who was raised MAGA, here are the 3 things that made me realize it's a cult so I could get the fuck out. Number 1, the fact that a lot of MAGA members would literally give up their religion if it meant following Trump. A lot of them fully believe that Trump is a savior and that he is like Jesus Christ. And while this is on the extreme end, a lot of them would do whatever he asked of them, and that is shown by how much he gets in donations from these people who don't have a lot to give. Number 2, the way that MAGA discourages free thinking and questions, generally speaking. If you do have a question and you ask anyone in MAGA, they will repeat the same bogus bullshit that is a tagline every single time. For instance, one time I asked what would happen to the immigrants of 20 or 30 years in America who have communities and families here. Would they be deported? And they simply said, anyone who is here illegally has to go. It is such a rehearsed tagline that they don't even actually consider what that would mean in their lives. And number 3, the insane merch and the way that they construct their identity around being part of this cult. It's their social life, it's their religion, it's everything, it's their way of life, it is who they are, which is way more than a politician should ever be in your life. Like,
you know what's sad? I think that even if these poor white Trump supporters were actually educated on how the economy works, they'd still vote for white supremacy over their economic class interests. Because when you don't have a good education, don't have good job prospects, and the people in your personal life don't make you feel like you're special to them, there's temptation to fall into an ideology that tells you that you were born special. Some people would prefer our culture bullshit them into feeling the good feels over having good healthcare and higher wages. It's an ego boost for the people that want to be special, but there's no actual evidence that they are special. Don't get me wrong, I do think quite a few of these white supremacists, either consciously or unconsciously, believe that if they didn't have to compete with these black and brown people that are better educated and better qualified than them, that they would be doing better economically, and that's why they want to bring back white guy nepotism. But you gotta understand, when people think and feel about what their interests are, it's not always financial. It's not just ignorance. Some people can't feel good about themselves unless they feel like they're stepping on somebody else. Inspired by this person, Highly recommend.
I voted for him, yes. But the quicker that you people welcome ex-MAGAs like myself, the more that MAGA is going to be willing to leave. The fact that you guys throw so much hate at ex-MAGA truly makes us not want to leave the cult. I have seen at least 3 or 4 videos like that in my FYP the last freaking hour. And to me, it's ridiculous because if you want to leave a cult, if you want to leave anything, you're doing it for yourself and nobody else. You don't need somebody to welcome you. Plus, leaving the cult and unlearning the things that made you think it was okay to be in the cult and support the person that you were supporting are 2 totally different things. Yeah, you can leave because you didn't like that AI picture he posted, or because you don't like the way he's acting right now, or you can leave because you know that he's racist, he's a pedophile, he's all these things, and you don't agree with them. But you could have left the cult and still support all those things elsewhere. You have not done the work to unlearn what it is that made you think it was okay for him to be president and to act this way in the first place. So please miss me with the, oh, you gotta welcome ex-MAGA. No, nobody has to do anything. What you have to do, if you truly want to make a change, is change yourself and talk to those around you who also think the way you do. And explain to them why they're also wrong. Maybe they'll listen to you.
We used to say, we're not in the cult, the outside world is the cult. And we're not the crazies, the outside world are the crazies.
And they made me watch a documentary on January 6th. And I didn't even know what happened on January 6th prior to the PBS documentary. And I looked at him and I said, Scott, did that really happen? And he was like, where have you been?
It's so hard for people because I said it's not that you're dumb, you were fooled. That's incredibly hard to admit.
We are in the United States of algorithms right now, and MAGA media is very efficacious, it's very effective, and it's very disciplined.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about how I used to be a MAGA Republican and now I've turned blue. So let's go back to the beginning. So in 2008, I voted for Barack Obama. I was considered a Democrat. I was a registered Democrat. In 2012, I didn't vote. After Obama's presidency, I was just kind of like, I don't really, I was still kind of younger. I didn't really know what I wanted. I wasn't really paying attention to politics. I was kind of being naive. So I didn't even vote at all in 2012. And then 2016 rolled around and Trump came around, and let's just say I got lost in the sauce. I got lost in the whirlwind that is MAGA that began in 2016. And I kind of just, fell on that aspect because honestly, if I'm being fair, I'm not a huge Hillary Clinton fan. And some of the stuff that she did, I found absolutely kind of shady. And I mean, I'm not saying I hate her by any means, you know what I mean? But I was like, okay, Donald Trump could bring something to the table. Mind you, I was still being naive. I was only getting my information from the MAGA circle. And I wasn't doing any other information at all. I wasn't doing any other research. I liked my little bubble. I was happy in my little fucking bubble. It made sense to me. Everything lined up with everything else that I would say. Now, let me preface by saying I've always been pro women's rights and I've always been pro LGBTQ community. Period. End of story. That has never been an issue for me whatsoever, even when I was MAGA. And I felt like I had to keep that stuff quiet though, which was wild to me because I believe in gay marriage. I believe in the trans community. I believe obviously women's right to choose, but I kept my mouth shut with MAGA because I was like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. There's other things that I fall in line with when it comes to his policies. Really, fast forward, he has no fucking policies, but I didn't know that. So then 2020 rolled around and I was still in my naive bubble, even with my husband as well. And 2020 rolled around and I voted for him again. And then January 6th happened. And when January 6th happened, I was fucking done. I was done. I was like, I cannot stand by a man who tried to overthrow our Constitution, leading us to a brink of a civil war. I cannot blindly follow a man who made a fake elector's plot to try to get himself elected and literally tried to overthrow our Constitution. I couldn't stand by it and do it. And then Roe versus Wade happened and even more shit started coming out. And I was like, fuck this guy. He's an absolute piece of shit. He doesn't give a fuck about women. He doesn't give a fuck about children. He doesn't give a fuck about the LGBTQ community. He doesn't give a fuck about, people in general, his country or anybody coming into it, anybody who's already here. He just doesn't give a fuck. And I was like, I'm done. I'm absolutely fucking done. And now I will say with full transparency, I changed my voter registration. I am now back to being a Democrat. I do not see myself ever going back to Republican because my views simply just don't align with them at all. I'm not religious. I don't believe in God. And I am not buying this whole fucking border issue. I understand immigration control, but I'm exactly where it should be, a bipartisan bill that Biden and Harris created. I am for a democracy. I am for women having the right to choose. I am for middle-class families. I come from a middle-class family. I'm for healthcare. I am for women's rights, LGBTQ. I have a child with special needs. My son is autistic. Like, everything that I believe in into my core does not align with the Republican Party. And it makes me emotional to know that I ever fucking stood by idly and blind and let that shit happen, because it makes me sick to know that I voted for that fucking rapist criminal for 2 terms. It like made me sick. And I never got on the I hate Joe Biden train. I never really got behind it. And I just did my fucking research. After January 6th, the conspiracy started more. I started realizing what he was, and then Roe v. versus Wade happened, overturned, and I was like, I'm fucking done. And then just knowing that he didn't do anything that he said he was going to do, how he's fucking disparaged our veterans, shit all over them, doesn't like how he's treated women, abusing women, being liable for raping a woman and multiple others. Like, I can't get behind somebody like that. I am a woman. I am a mother. I am voting for my future, for my children's future. I'm done with this whole bullshit of, everybody's coming across the borders, things are more expensive, da-da-da-da-da. I'm done with tampons in the bathroom. I'm done with that shit. It's so fucking stupid. I won't even argue with you people anymore, because that's what you are, is just a bunch of belligerent idiots. Like, MAGA idiots. Period. End of story. Right now, we need to focus on our democracy, women getting their fucking rights back. We need to focus on the LGBTQ community being able to have equal rights. We need to take care of the people that are in this country, and asylum seekers that are coming from other countries, we need to take care of as well, period, end of story. I'm not going to change my viewpoint on that, ever. We need to keep church and state separate, and we need to have gun control, because guess what? I have 2 children. Like I said, one of them special needs. I'm scared to send them to school every day. So while y'all are bitching about tampons in the motherfucking bathroom, I'm worried that I'm not going to see my kid again. So that's why I'm voting blue. I will never go back to being a Republican again. And the true Republicans that aren't behind MAGA, no disrespect to you at all, because your party has totally been hijacked by that belligerent moron. So for true Republicans, I stand by you. I respect your beliefs. I personally am just not one of them anymore. So that is my story. If you have any questions, let me know.
If you used to be MAGA or a Trump supporter and now you're not, what was your turning point? What was the moment that made you begin to question maybe everything that you believed? I've shared on here multiple times that I voted for Trump in 2016. Coming out of that world was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. Our brains are hardwired to not want to receive new information that may go against what it believes it already knows. And that is just a survival mechanism that our brains are designed to do. It's designed to keep us safe, it's designed to keep us comfortable, it's designed to keep us in homeostasis. Now, what's also interesting is the same part of our brain that regulates things like our personality also regulates our political belief, which is why when somebody has an opposing belief, it can oftentimes feel like a personal attack. And it feels like a personal attack because you feel that your well-being, your homeostasis is being threatened. So when Trump was first elected and people would say, you need to do your own research, I would listen to people that generally agreed with my belief systems, like Ben Shapiro or other Republican commentators. And I would say, I am doing my own research. And I genuinely believed that that's what I was doing. However, I wasn't researching anything. I was just following somebody else's belief system. So it was actually really hard for me to go outside of that circle and that echo chamber and start researching nonpartisan news sources, which can be hard to find. It's very hard to find information or news sources that come from people or groups that are non-biased. People often assume that I just went to the other side and think that all I do is listen to CNN. I don't think I've ever listened or watched CNN. So I'm curious, what was the moment for you and what did you do to get yourself out of that echo chamber?
The conversation online are growing like crazy. Like former MAGA supporter who say that they regret their votes after losing jobs or facing financial hardships. Like, shame on you, because you were warned. And whether it's because of the layoff, factory closure, or changes in the economy, some people are now saying the future they hoped for hasn't turned out to be the way they expected. When they voted, many believed promises that jobs will return, prices would fall, and life would become more affordable. And they expected like stronger industries, better wages, and more opportunities for working families. And for many of those promises were major reasons why they supported the current administration. But for the former supporters, reality has been very different. Like, some say they've lost their jobs, others are struggling with the rise cost of living, and many feel frustrated that life hasn't improved the way they had hoped. Because of that, number of people who once proudly identified as MAGA now say they walk away from that movement. Like, oh my god. What's interesting is that many of these stories aren't coming from political opponents, they're coming from people who once defended the current administration, attended rallies, wore the merchandise, and believed in the message. Now they're saying they feel disappointed and in some cases betrayed. And of course, it is important to remember that not every supporter of this administration feels this way. Like, but who knows, in a matter of time, I don't think anyone's going to be left. And for these people that have changed their mind, one common theme keeps coming up. Like, they wish they had looked more closely at policies instead of campaign promises. They say emotions, slogans, and social media played a big role in their decisions. And now they want to pay more attention to how policies affect everyday's life. And this also raises a bigger lesson that goes beyond one political party. Elections have real consequences, and every vote matters because government's decisions can affect jobs, and it won't just affect one-sided, it will affect each and every one of us. Whether it's businesses, healthcare, education, and the cost of living, it's going to affect us all. Not just because you are MAGA that you're going to get excluded. And that's why it's important to look at facts, compare policies, and think about long-term impacts for voting. And another thing, people are discussing empathy. Like, it's easy to celebrate when someone who disagrees with you has a change of heart, but losing a job is difficult for anyone. So financial stress affects families regardless of political beliefs. While people who should be held accountable for their choices, it's also possible to recognize that unemployment is a serious challenge, and political opinions can change. History has shown that voters, like, from every party sometimes regret their decisions after seeing the results, and that's part of living in a democracy. Like, people learn from experiences, and sometimes those experiences changes how they vote in the future. So at the end of the day, this conversation isn't just about MAGA, it's about expectations versus reality, and they have been hit with reality. So thank you everyone for watching this video, and I hope next time when we are going to vote, like, I'm not voting yet, so, but when you're going to vote, just think beyond yourself. And yeah, so leave your thoughts in the comment section about what you think about this video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video.